Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the Kern County Fire, the city, Sacramento, Governor Brown, and the courts, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyo Kern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
I'm Tom Whitnick, and here's what's news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Yesterday afternoon, the Kern County Fire Department got a call of a brush fire on the east side of town. Firefighters and Ridgecrest Police Department responded quickly. The fire was in the area of East Ridgecrest Boulevard, LuMille, and County Line Road. The brush fire was quickly extinguished. It burned an area covering about a quarter acre. The fire was controlled quickly and no damage to any buildings occurred. Well, this is a reminder that if you're watching me now, there will be time to head down to the City Hall for today's council meeting. The meeting will be a long one tonight. There are many very important items on the agenda. The biggest of the items are the council may raise sewer fees that we are charged. Next year's budget will be reviewed and probably be passed. This is a major item. We'll see just how solvent the city is and what their plans are. The City Council met Monday evening at City Hall in a special meeting to finalize their understanding of the 2015-2016 budget. The meeting was in the main conference room and lasted about 3 hours. All the council was there except Mike Bauer. Also to be discussed tonight is the Super Walmart Improvement Project, and much more will be discussed in this marathon meeting. I expect the meeting to go well into the evening. So after the news, you have plenty of time to get on down and participate. See you there. One item in city news is they have accomplished a survey of all the sewer lines in the city. All problems are now identified. This was a major undertaking and desperately needed. I have to commend City Manager Dennis Spear for starting this project probably about 10 years ago. He identified that we were having sewer line failures and recommended to do the engineering study. About 2 years ago, the city hired a firm to survey and document all problems in the system. It took the firm about a year to do the study. The study involved actually running a video camera recording system through every sewer line we have in the city. The system documented by video and using GPS location technology all trouble areas we have. Hats off to the city for getting this done. It is reported that there are 101 spots of sewer line problems. Here's a map of the center of the city. Depicted on it are various Category 5 problems. Category 5 problems are the worst. These include blockages, root penetrations, collapse, severe cracking, and other major failures of the pipe. While there are some Category 5 problems throughout the city, the worst section is shown here. The problem spots are shown with red or blue dots. The red ones are structural failures, the blue ones are obstructions. You can see by the map that the worst area is in the center of the town. This makes sense as these are the areas that were first developed as Ridgecrest came into existence. There is also a small cluster in the very north end of town along Inyo Kern Road and in the Norma Street area. But the largest cluster area covers the area outlined by South Norma to South China Lake Boulevard and from West Ridgecrest Boulevard to West Upjohn. Some of these lines are 50 years old or more. The southeast section of the city has about 10 major failures. The northwest section of the city has about 38 failures noted. In addition to sewer line problems, the study also discovered some actual failures of manhole drops. These are the access manholes that allow workers to get down into the system to service the lines. So there are some manholes that will need replacement as well. It should be noted that this map you've just been shown is just the Category 5 failures. These are the worst ones. There are other lesser severe failures as well. These less severe failures will also be repaired as they go through the Category 5 failures. The city is hiring an engineering firm to create a repair plan. They will also prepare a contract bid package to be put out for bids. This will be a major expenditure of city funds to make all these repairs. After award of the contract, the engineering firm, under the eye of the city public works engineer, will manage the actual repairs. In news from Sacramento, Assemblywoman Shannon Grove today joined with her Republican colleagues in opposing the majority party's $117 billion budget plan. She urged Governor Brown to stand firm in his negotiations with Democrats and reject their call for unsustainable new spending. This budget is what you would expect from the majority party: massive spending increases, new government programs, and increased ongoing spending. Said Assemblywoman Shannon Grove, on top of this, You can't believe it. The budget diverts money from roadway improvements to construction fish passages on the state highway system. Grove said the Democrat budget would spend $2.2 billion more than Governor Brown proposed. This is in addition to $7.3 billion in new spending he proposed on top of last year's budget. The Democrats are relying on unrealistic projections of $3.2 billion in new revenue to justify $2.2 billion in new spending. But relying on money that doesn't exist will set up the state for more budget pain in the future. Leading economists have said that the higher spending in the majority party's budget will take the state down a path to future budget crisis. Now is the time to use the additional tax dollars the state has received from Prop 30 to increase the state's water storage capacity, said Grove. We should also pay down our debts and support the state's rainy day fund so we are prepared for future economic downturns. Republicans urge Governor Brown not to repeat the fiscal mistakes of the past by gambling on overly optimistic economic projections. Grove said the majority party's budget is further proof that the current budget process needs fixing. Earlier this year, she joined Assembly Republicans in introducing a legislative package to modernize the budget process. Specifically, Grove introduced two bills as part of this package. ACA 5 was to switch to a 2-year budget process, which would allow the legislature to thoroughly examine state spending and enact more realistic and fiscally responsible budgets. Additionally, ACR 45 was to adopt zero-based budgeting so the legislature could exercise more oversight over State Department spending. So the budget battle comes full steam into Sacramento. It'll be interesting to see if they follow their own law and pass the budget on time. KZGN has learned that current Kern County Supervisor Mick Gleason will be seeking re-election in the next election. He represents District 1 in Kern County. The district goes from Delano all across the northern section of Kern County to Ridgecrest. The first district is a very large and long district. His main goal is to see through setting up the new Groundwater Sustainability Agency. This will help solve the water issues we are experiencing in the Indian Wells Valley. Indian Wells Valley Cooperative Groundwater Management Group has slated several topics for Thursday meeting to include sustainable groundwater management legislation. Specifically, the group will discuss requirements contained in the Groundwater Management Act regarding formation of a groundwater sustainability agency and developing a groundwater sustainability plan. Salt nutrient management plans are on the agenda pertaining to State Water Resource Control Board adoption of Resolution 2009-2011 in February when a water recycle policy was established. Its purpose required the State Board and regional water quality control boards to encourage use of recycled water and that the recycled water be consistent with state and federal water quality laws. The meeting will hear articles for publication in local media. These articles are by experts on public use. The Inyo-Mona Regional Water Management Group Director, Corlett, will report on a comprehensive voluntary and non-regulatory region-wide planning document. The document identifies broadly supported goals and objectives pertaining to water resource management of the Inyo-Mona Regional Water Management Group. Water production data is on the agenda. An update on water production data from major producers will be provided. 2014 and 2015 in-kind service commitment on value of water services along with direct monetary contributions provided by signatory groups. The group will hear reports on new building projects in the Indian Wells Valley. Also, the Technical Advisory Committee will report on state water policies, California state groundwater elevation monitoring, a groundwater model update, measuring local subsidence from groundwater extraction. The group will conclude after discussing matters of interest. In more news from Sacramento, last Friday, a ruling by a state court judge in Sacramento came in response to a lawsuit filed last year against Governor Jerry Brown by 3 nonprofit groups offering counseling to homeowners. They contended that Mr. Brown improperly diverted some of the money California received in 2012 as part of a $25 billion nationwide settlement with the country's largest banks over mortgage servicing improprieties. The plaintiffs argued that $350 million of the California share of the settlement was wrongly removed from a special fund dedicated to helping troubled homeowners avoid foreclosure through counseling and other educational services. Judge Timothy Frawley agreed with the plaintiffs that $331 million of that was misused. In his ruling, he enjoined the state to return that amount to the Special Homeowner Fund as soon as there is sufficient appropriation reasonably and generally available for such purpose. H.D. Palmer, a spokesman for the California Department of Finance, said that the state was reviewing the ruling and had not yet decided on its next step. When the mortgage settlement was completed, Kamala Harris, the California Attorney General, was a lead negotiator, pushing hard for borrower assistance programs to be covered under its terms. But California faced financial difficulties at the time, and state finance officials used the settlement funds for other purposes from 2012 to 2014, such as retiring debt issued by low-income housing authorities. The three plaintiffs that won the case are Nationalist Asian American Coalition, the Community Development Corporation, and the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference. Robert Nasdia, General Counsel to the National Asian American Coalition, praised the judge's ruling as evidence that Mr. Brown, the state's governor, is not above the law. The National Mortgage Settlement earmarked a total of $2.5 billion for troubled borrower assistance. He said that the California ruling could lead to similar lawsuits in other states where officials funneled settlement money from the specific uses. We've identified about a dozen states where it might be appropriate to take action, he said. We decided not to go forward with other actions until this case was decided. More than 800,000 borrowers are in distress in California, said Faith Bautista, Chief Executive of the National Asian American Coalition. We thank Attorney General Kamala Harris for creating this fund and call upon her to help lead the effort to return these funds to the homeowners in distress. Neil Borowski, the former Special Inspector General of the Troubled Asset Relief Program and a partner at Jenner Block, represented the plaintiffs in the case. The governor and his administration took money they weren't supposed to have taken. He said in an interview after the ruling it was issued, it might have been for a noble purpose, but there were restrictions on that money. Now it's time for that money to be put to use for the people who were supposed to benefit from it. This is just another example of dictatorial tendencies of the governor in thinking he can do whatever he wants. He inappropriately exercised executive powers and got overturned. Now in KZGN continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's local gas prices. Well, I'm happy to report that since Monday, prices locally and abroad are holding steady. No declines and no increases. I wonder if we'll see any more decline going towards the July 4th holiday period. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $3.39 to $3.89. Lancaster is going from $3.39 to $3.79. The LA Valley area is $3.39 to $3.59. And the Bishop area is going $3.71 to $3.83. We have 5 stations coming in at the $3.39 figure. Tune in with us on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally and support our local economy. Remember, when you pay any sales tax out of town, you're helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Stay tuned for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, flash flood threat continues from Texas to Illinois. Tropical Depression Bill continues to move northeast. Thunderstorms are expected along the east side of the system, along the eastern border of Texas through to tonight. Meanwhile, scattered storms are likely across portions of the plains to the parts of the middle and upper Mississippi Valley, eastward to Virginia and North Carolina. Temperatures across the nation. Massachusetts came in at 76, Carolinas 91, Atlanta, Georgia 89, Kansas 76, North Dakota 60 degrees, Wyoming 60 degrees, Colorado 65, New Mexico 74, Arizona 93, Utah 77, Idaho 73, Oregon 61, San Francisco 57, and Los Angeles came in at 54 today. For us locally here in the IWV, tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 70, west-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 25. Thursday will be sunny and hot with a high near 106, light west wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear with a low around 70, breezy with a west wind 15 to 25 miles per hour. Friday will be sunny and hot with a high near 106, light southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, clear with a low around 70, west wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. And on Saturday, sunny and hot with a high near 107, west northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your IWV forecast. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN news.
Thanks, Keith. Let's go to Tom Heck for the sports.
And a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to everyone. Well, the NBA over finally. The champions are the Golden State Warriors. First time since 1975 the championship has come to the Bay Area. They defeat Cleveland 4-2. Now, last night, LeBron James might be, probably is, the most dominant player in the world, probably the best player in the world also. But Andrew Iguodala and Stephen Curry were the two best players in the state of Ohio last night as they helped carry, along with Klay Thompson, Golden State to their 9-point victory over the Cavaliers. And they celebrated last night in the city of Oakland, and as far as we know, it went pretty uneventful, which was even a greater thing, I think. So congrats to the Warriors. Steve Kerr, what a job he did. He went from the TV analyst chair to the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, took a team that had won 50 games, took a good team and made them a lot better. All the players had respect for him. He was a very good NBA player, always had the mind of a coach when he did play. All right, so the NBA is over, the NHL is over. The night before last, the Blackhawks defeat Tampa Bay 2-0. They win that series 4-2. Well, hacking finally gets their name in the box score. When I'm talking about computers now, the Cardinals are getting blamed for hacking in to the Houston Astros technical system to try to spy on players. Now the Astros, if you look at the last 5-6 years, the worst record in baseball. Last place every season. Now why would you want to hack a team that's last place, the worst record in baseball, for 6 years in a row? Well, I think the FBI not only needs to investigate, which they are right now, the Cardinals front office, but also the minds of a couple of those people. I mean, come on, hack the Yankees, somebody, but the Astros? All right, from last night's baseball scoreboard, the Dodgers lose again in Arlington. Texas beats them 3-2. The Rangers playing pretty good right now. I gave them up for dead. They lost a couple of good starting pitchers this year. Darvish not able to go, Thompson not able to go, but still, they've had a pretty good season. And the Angels win last night, 4-1. Luis Pujols, boy, he is playing just as good now as he is in his mid-30s as he was when he was a rookie. A home run last night to put the Angels up 2-1. Trout was on base. He had just walked. And the Angels went on to win 4-1. The two teams play again tonight, only they take the hour plane ride. They go to Phoenix. They'll play two in Phoenix tonight and tomorrow before the Angels go to Oakland for the weekend. All right, also last night, Houston beats Colorado 8-5. The Astros 4.5 game leaders over the Angels, 2.5 over Texas for first place in the West. The Giants beat Seattle. Giants now 2 games behind the Dodgers for first place. Oakland beat San Diego 6-5. San Diego has named Pat Murphy as their interim manager. Pat Murphy coached at Arizona State. He also coached at Notre Dame. He's been the AAA manager for the Padres in Las Vegas the last 3 years. St. Louis beats the Twins. The Mets 2 games in a row now over Toronto after Toronto had won 11 straight. Washington beats Tampa Bay. Miami crushes the Yankees. And the Reds over Detroit 6-1. The worst team in baseball, they lose again. Phillies now have lost 6 straight. They're now 22 games under 500. They're 22-44 after losing to the Baltimore Orioles last night in Baltimore. All right, College World Series, Cal State Fullerton knocked out. They lose to Louisiana State 5-3 last night. Boy, a couple tough games for Cal State Fullerton. They join Arkansas as the last 2 teams out. Vanderbilt over TCU last night in the winners bracket. That's your sports for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. Office of KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Richcrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now here's a neat video submitted by viewer Bob Gould showing a great police motorcycle demonstration ride. Fantastic.